Matt and I went for a weekend flight to Mosselbay. Now, being VFR pilots, we need a weather window which allows us to get there and back. The trip was Friday, fly to Highway on Saturday, and then return on Sunday. The routing was pretty simple. Took off from Morningstar over Teerwater's Kloof and then directly east.
Guys out for that plane they just called. But just check out, suddenly it gets a lot more mountainous and the vegetation changes. Survey the airfield. I'm descending on the northern side to join for a right hand downwind 10. This wind is blowing, boy. Yo. That's blowing, boy. India Charlie Echo, right hand downwind runway 10, full stop. Fuel pump, fuel pressure is on. Mosselbay India Charlie Echo turning final runway 10, full stop. Look at our turn, eh? The wind just pulls us sideways. Flaps and windsock is blowing across. Coming from the right. We're going to land quite early so that we don't have the hangars bumping us late. Quite an arrival.
Keeping the blue on the right and the mountain on the left, and that'll find your way to Mosselbay. I had Sky Demon which logs my trip, so I can give some stats around the trip. As luck would have it, we had a headwind to Mosselbay, and 2 days later we had a headwind back to Morningstar. So with that 20 knot headwind, the journey was 184 nautical miles or 340 kilometers, and it took us 1 hour 27 with an average ground speed of about 127 knots. So even though the wind was relatively strong, it was a pretty simple trip into Mosselbay. Just a few bumps, but nothing that was too scary. Once we landed, we were welcomed by Horace, and he took really good care of us. Carefully planned out where I should put my plane in order to secure it for the night with the wind blowing, so we were facing east. And we securely tied down the plane for the night and covered it up. As we were there relatively late, we didn't rush off anywhere, and it wasn't long before the others who had flown in earlier arrived, and we had a great spitbraai supper. I shared some Airbnb accommodation with Chris and Monique. Fortunately, they had arrived earlier and had booked in and actually got a car, so I got a lift with them. Next morning, woke up at Pinnacle Point, and the weather was absolutely gorgeous. It was the best day by far, and we headed back to the airfield relatively early. I got some fuel again. Once there was quite a bit of dew around, so Matt and I undid all the tie downs and got the plane ready to go. Our planned trip for the day was actually through George airspace, but because we were leaving relatively early, they weren't open yet. And our routing took us past George and then to an airfield called Highway, which is just inland of Knysna. Rather than going direct, Matt and I followed the coast, which was a 60 nautical mile or 111 kilometer trip, and it took us 27 minutes to get there. It's a beautiful section of coastline. As you go along the coast from Mosselbay, you pass the Brock River and then stay along the coast, staying well clear of George airspace. And you pass some beautiful little bays and coastline going past the Obai golf course. There's some stunning houses on the edge. And as you round out, you find yourself coming out at Wilderness, having just gone past Vic Bay and past the Caiman's river mouth. I passed Ross along the way.
Beautiful flying weather. Didn't see any whales, anything, huh? Look at this house on the left here. Yeah, it's a proper big one. Cool, right on the cliff. I don't know if I'd want that. Yeah, just don't want your kids to walk too far over the edge. India Charlie Echo approaching wilderness, routing east.
George Tower, West Castle, Oscar 1112, 800 foot, holding zone outbound wilderness routing. The Sedgefield area, Geelong, India, only just under 1,000 feet. Beam Sedgefield will now route inland directly for Knysna.
Routing to highway.
You got me visual.
You're slightly ahead of me, but I'm more inland than you.
After wilderness, I caught up to Ray and Mark. Mark was the original founder of the Sling factory, responsible for all these aircraft that are all over the place now. Mark took a cool video of us as we flew along next to them.
What happened?
Matt and I carried on straight ahead just along the coastline with a little bit of mist that sits over the vegetation, and made our way over the heads at Knysna. They're very famous and opens up to a beautiful Knysna River Lagoon with Teeson Island, a group of houses on a little island just inside. We carried on, then basically due north, went over Phantom Pass and routed towards Highway, which is a grass strip. There's quite a bit of traffic there, but it was all fairly well coordinated. Everybody was on frequency, and I immediately slotted in behind two other aircraft as we came in to land.
India Charlie Echo turning right, base number 2. India Charlie Echo turning final at Highway. Ross, can I land? Will you wait?
I'm going to pull over to the side. Is that you in there?
Perfect, thanks so much. India Charlie Echo final at Highway.
Highway roaming yourself overhead, going round downwind 13.
There's another guy there.
Ross kindly gave me a gap so that I could follow in behind him, and we turned around and then taxied back to park on the side. Highway is a magical little airfield, and there are a number of people who flew in from Plet as well. Breakfast was absolutely awesome. We sat around and chatted. Duran has a hangar there, and he's got tons of toys in there, including a Stearman, which he flew later, together with a Huey, which actually saw time in Vietnam, I believe, and a brand new RV-8. As is the general custom to flying like this, we sat around, talked nonsense for a while, and then once we got ourselves all ready, then we planned to head off. A grass strip is something else. It's not quite a tar strip, and because I don't normally fly out of grass, it certainly took a while for the takeoff. Quite a ground roll, but it was dry and relatively firm, so no issues. I took off, climbed straight ahead, and then circled back just to wait for Johan to take off. Just see at the highway airfield Johan taking off, and as he climbed out I joined him and allowed him to join in behind me. Then what we did was a little bit of formo flying. Johan and I have done this before. He slots in nice and close, and we went over the runway, one turn, and then headed out. planned routing was to remain on the northern side of the George airspace just for fun, to follow the mountain. Don't really like to fly back exactly the same way that I came, so we changed the route up a little bit. To stay out of George airspace, you're pretty much hugging the mountain as you go along. This routing took us past the Outeniqua Pass. It was 85 nautical miles, and which is about 157 kilometers, and took us about 38 minutes to get home. And then once we landed, Matt decided he wanted to play paddle. So once back at Pinnacle Point, we looked for an Uber, but while the app's there's not so many drivers. But Horace had suggested a taxi driver by the name of Mark, and he was absolutely awesome. So Mark gave us a general rundown of Mosselbay and told us how fantastic it was. He dropped us down at the point where we played paddle, and once we did that, we grabbed a soft serve ice cream, which immediately went into melt mode shortly after we got it. Then I behaved like a tourist, stood under the Mosselbay sign, looked at the ocean. Matt eventually got sick of all my photos, and then it was time to head back. We actually watched the rugby. That was a good result, South Africa versus Argentina. Thanks, Boca. And then all of the people from Morningstar who flew in decided to meet up at the Cattle Baron for supper. As you can see, big crowd of us. I think there were about 13 aircraft that flew in at the end. And then it was time to head home. During the night, I heard quite a bit of wind, and I actually checked the weather at about 3 in the morning.
Mosselbay traffic, India Charlie Echo, lining up runway 28. Mosselbay traffic, India Charlie Echo, rolling 28, straight ahead, climbing to 1,500 feet, and then following the coast.
Third flight up.
Chizzy 2. One the other day. There we go. Plane's happy? You happy?
Yep. What's keeping you busy right now? Nothing much.
What are you doing? Just eyes closed?
Yeah.
We're routing that way, and there's clouds there, so we're going to go under those clouds. How's this for pretty, man? Just look. I mean, I know it's windy, but look at this.
Yeah.
So the intention is just to follow the coast for a bit.
Yeah.
The wind at the moment is, we've got about 10 knots. So we'll stay this altitude and just keep a good lookout for whales. And there's nobody on Overberg frequency at the moment, so. Still by traffic, India Charlie Echo 1,000 feet, passing over still by and routing west. We're going to take off from this runway.
Oh, that's pretty scrappy.
Still by, which is along the coast, and they have an airfield there, so we flew over that.
We've got Overberg in front of us, and we've got some beautiful yellow sand down here below us. We're going to route towards Swellendam, and that's on the GPS at 16 minutes away. 140 knots in speed, 131 ground speed, because we've got a northwester wind. Have avoided all those clouds there.
Well, before we got to Arniston or Witsundt, we took a right turn and headed inland, as we knew we were going to go via Robertson.
Very good, free coming up on your left, and then I'll move to your right.
Okay, thank you.
It's a beautiful farm below us, Godfrey. Sorry, Jen, I'll come the other side. Much more comfortable flying former on this side. You have a big wave, boy.
Nah,
I want a photo with a wave.
you got it. Yeah, get closer.
You want me to get closer?
Ah, you're good, you're good.
Okay. And I'm just going to go out to the right.
Traffic in the Aston area, marking in November, turn to your beam Aston at 2,500 feet, reaching Robertson.
The clouds are doing exactly what they were supposed to do and stayed high enough. They're actually about 2,000 feet for us to continue Robertson and then on to Worcester.
So Bainscliff, which is over there on our left, is not something I think we can fly through today, boy. Yeah. So we're just going to go to Tilbach, where we know we can see through the cloud there. That will be better. There's another sling in front of us at Mr. Min, the sling 4. He's at about 2,000 and we just below that.
Because we did a bit of a round route, the trip home was a little bit longer. It was 228 nautical miles or 422 kilometers and took us 1 hour 47 minutes. We had an average speed of about 128, that's ground speed, which is 237 kilometers an hour, because that headwind was into us. So by the end, Matt was keen to get home. Just in front of me was Craig. Followed him a little bit higher than we needed to be actually, through the Tilbach Pass to the Full Flay Dam on the other side.
Copy shop traffic in Detroit Echo 1,500 feet just to the north. I'll be passing overhead.
Going to stop at the coffee shop? No. I want to go home.
Copy shop traffic in Detroit Echo 1,000 feet climbing 1,500. I'll remain on the eastern side of the Paardeberg route in Morningstar.
My God, can we just get there? Jesus Christ.
We're getting there.
One more roll and I'll kill you.
Happy days.
No, I just want to get home. You're stalling it like crazy. You said 15 minutes for Robertson, so you said, oh, maybe 30 minutes in total.
Well, we couldn't go through the mountain. Look at that.
9:30.
You're lucky. Your dad just flies so safely and carefree for you.
No, but you take long.
You don't take long. You got like one of the... We've overtaken people. Nobody's overtaken us.
We need to get like a jet or something.
Yeah.
Do you want to go the coast? I said you could go the coast.
Is that all I got?
And you went past the coffee shop. You've flown every day since Friday. You've had enough.
India Charlie Echo 1,700 feet, reaching from the southern side of the Paardeberg to Klipjeuvel and on to Morningstar.
Hey, wait, we're just about over the airfield.
Yeah, we just need to check the windsock and then we can land. Doesn't seem to be anybody in the circuit. The windsock is coming from the side. Boy, I don't know which is the best way to go. Let's have a look at the windsocks. I'll come from that side. Morningstar, India Charlie Echoes overhead the airfield. I'll descend to the west and I'm going to land a 2-0. Landing's going to be interesting, boy. Well, you've only had interesting landings on this trip.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to disappoint you. Morningstar, India Charlie Echo, turning final 20 full stop.
As always, something like this doesn't happen without a lot of planning, and certainly Bobby from Morningstar did all the organising our side, and in particular Horace from Mosselbay made us feel incredibly welcome and looked after us on the Mosselbay's side. It's always good to get home with the plane performing as it should and the weather doing what it should as well. It makes for a really good weekend away.